Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition all Hecata Chronicle Berlin Bloodlines. This is our first pre-game session, Consumerism. Let's meet our consuming vampires, starting with Avery.
Hello, hi, I am Avery at Golden Gwydion on all of the social media platforms, and I will be playing the Banker of Duncern, Edgar Waite.
Ramos?
Hello, I am Gilbert Ramos, found everywhere at Ramos the Nomad, and tonight I will be playing Dr. Tulio Giovanni.
That is correct. As always, this is a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition actual play. We've gone over our safety and our consent, but please check in with yourselves as your well-being is important to all of us who are playing. All of the content warnings will be down in the description. So if you two are ready, lass uns anfangen. Let's go to Berlin. Nestled in the heart of Europe, Berlin beckons with an irresistible blend of passion and freedom. A city that pulsates with a rhythm all its own. Berlin is a mistress of contrasts, where the echoes of a tumultuous past whisper through the remnants of the Berlin Wall, while contemporary art and architecture ignite the flames of a bold, avant-garde future. As the sun dips below the horizon, the skyline of the city becomes a stunning silhouette, where the iconic Fernsehturm pierces the night sky, and each district from the historic charm of Mitte to the bohemian allure of Kreuzberg offers different facets of the city's amorous personality. Berlin is not just the destination. It's a lover, a muse, a city that invites you to lose yourself in its embrace. The year is 2013. One of you is 20 years dead, and the other only 4. But both of you are sons of the most powerful Hecata in the city, the head of Berlin's family, Olivia Duncern. And tonight, she has called you urgently to her haven, a stunning manor home in the borough of Steglitz-Zehlendorf, just south of Charlottenburg. Edgar, you have been sent to pick up your brother, Tulio. Would you like to describe to us how you're picking him up, what you're wearing, and in what mood you're in this evening?
Sure. So Edgar, this evening is in his, I would hazard to say signature outfit. It is, deep blue, white pinstripe suit, very expensive red bottom Louis Vuittons, and a watch on his wrist that would make even the most ostentatious spender blush. He is driving his 1968 Candy Apple Red Opel GT. This is the car that Edgar likes to take on his what he fondly refers to as the midnight drives, where we get out a little bit out of the city and just see how fast we can get the pedal to the metal. But this evening, he is curious. He and Olivia have been working together and close for 20 years, and out of the blue, she picks up this Giovanni and is lauding him and taking a lot of private hours of tutelage with him. And Edgar's a busy man. Money never sleeps, and unfortunately, during the day he has to. So he ends up playing a lot of catch-up and working very hard, very long hours. And he's very interested to see what this new lick that Olivia decides that he should value in some way should be like.
Edgar, would you say any of these emotions that you are experiencing about Olivia and Tulio, would any of them involve jealousy?
Superficially, I think. Yeah, there's this very knee-jerk reaction of, that's my mother. Maybe take a step back. But then there's that very quick, resurgence of, it's Olivia's flavor of the month. I don't need to be worried.
4 years is a long month.
4 years is a long month.
Indeed. So as you arrive, Edgar, Tulio, what are you doing in your haven? And would you like to describe your haven to us?
It is the haven itself is on the smaller side. Tulio thinks it makes him frugal, although the adornments, the chandelier, the expensive marble countertop are anything but frugal. It's full of expensive things. There is a vase picked up from Greece. There is a flower pot picked up from Italy. There's just mementos of travel that would make the Instagram influencers blush. Currently, he's sitting in an armchair that he had custom made that hides a simple knife, just a simple pocket knife, and likely smoking a pipe. He's picked up the habit of smoking basically everything he can get his hands on in order to mimic breathing. So he's practicing that, trying to.
Sure, it's something Olivia would have encouraged. Just she's a heavy smoker herself.
Indeed.
I have 2 questions for you, Tulio. Do you have anything of Irma's in your haven? And do you have anything from your home city of Potsdam?
I keep a simple brick from Potsdam, taken from a simple little mom and pop shop that I would go pick up groceries from, rather than the larger, the Voskau and such. Mm-hmm. As for a memento of Irma's, I keep a small bracelet forever in my pocket, hidden by the handkerchief that bears the initials TG.
When was the last time you think you spoke to her?
It's difficult to say at this point.
Agreed.
It feels like an incredible lifetime.
As you wait for whoever is supposed to pick you up, Olivia said to wait for someone to pick you up, and so you wait. You receive a text message. You know who it's from. Number that you keep just as a number in your phone with no name. And it says, report, period.
I will reply, being picked up shortly. Olivia's child. He will choose a word very carefully before he sends this text. He will settle on child.
Mm-hmm. The response is swayable?
Without a doubt.
And then the final response is good boy.
There will be no reply from Tulio, just a silent acknowledgement.
Edgar, you arrive at Tulio's haven. Tulio lives in the Mitte, which is sort of in the downtown area. It is a place where sort of the more poor people of Berlin, or sort of the transient people who come and live in Berlin for a year and live in a WG or houses with many, many roommates. And it's also a place where many of the homeless who can no longer, or the unhoused, can no longer be on the streets. They've hit a point in their lives where they need hospice care, and there is a state-run hospice care here. It's a very unfamiliar part of town. Not that you've never been here, but it's very unfamiliar in the sense where you don't know why he would live here.
I think Edgar would find a parking space and take a moment to absorb his surroundings. Moment of internal filing before.
Mm-hmm. You're parking here in the Mitte.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Is there like anybody like out on the street?
There's people everywhere. It is completely untasteful. They are in all forms of whether they're going to a club or going to a bar or coming back from one, ready to do their tactical puking, as Germans call it, which is when you puke in between clubs so you have no more room to drink. Someone bangs on your car and says, "Hey, yo, Junge, I like your car."
Yeah, right. So, Could I get you to watch it for me for a second, lad?
You, hast du Geld? You got money? Oder Drogen? You marijuana?
Edgar will open the glove box, pull out a few spliffs, put them in his hand. Right, give me a 5 Minuten. Yeah?
5 minutes. Yeah. Watch your auto for 5 minutes. And he lights up the spliff, which is of course legal here in Germany.
Vielen Dank.
He leans
Edgar
against your
will-
car, puts his foot up on the radiator.
Don't touch, lad. Just watch. Watching happens with you. With, mit den Augen.
Ich brauche mehr als 3 Zigaretten. Dann brauche ich mehr. I need more.
Edgar will reach in his pocket, the silver inlaid cigarette case. Open it.
Vielen
Take your
Dank,
pick.
mein gnädiger Herr.
Yeah. Slip it back in his pocket and go and knock on Tulio's door.
Well, we're in Berlin, so you're going to buzz the door
Yeah.
into where his apartment is. Here. It's here in the Mitte. There's no single house. Eigenwohnungstum. And it rings, Tulio.
He will sort of lazily rise from his seat and go take from the counter just a couple of batteries and switch to the more modern catch-on that's happening for smokers, and switch to a small, likely a cheaper vape, and double check it's powered on, and again, more leisurely than anything. Likely it takes a couple buzzes for Edgar.
And you two meet. Tulio, dressed just as nicely as you and just as well groomed as you. And it is entirely, you are sure, Olivia's influence.
You alright, lad?
Doing quite well. He'll look at your suit and our money.
Yeah, I find them to be fashionable.
For Gucci.
Of course you do.
You're here to take me
Somewhere.
right. I don't suppose you've brought your own vehicle.
Of course I have.
Excellent. Lead the way.
Nice place.
Keeps me close to the ground. That's where I like to be. With the real people.
Don't have much use to it. Come on, lad. Got places to be. Shan't keep the old lady waiting.
There's a twitch of the eye. But just the term old lady.
Edgar will walk Tulio down to the car.
Well, you had to park a little bit away. So as you walk back to the car, so the Mitte is, as I said, a place where there are many, many young people, a lot happening here. This really is the beating heart of Berlin. And as you two walk, the aroma of the street food wafts through the air, which it does not appeal to you necessarily. However, the humans who are feasting on these sweet treats really does stir the beast within you. So I would like both of you to do what we call a classic Huddyism, 3 rouse checks at the top of a chronicle, please.
I missed you, Huddy.
I missed you too, honey.
Edgar fails all 3.
Wonderful. That's going to put you at 4 hunger. And I did ask you beforehand about your prey exclusion, but
Yes.
I am nothing if not warning beforehand.
It is 2 successes, 1 failure.
Okay, so you only get 1 point hungrier. So you are at 2 hunger, Tulio. For you, Tulio, as you step out into the street from your apartment, that very familiar pang in your stomach hits you. And fortunately for you, if you did want to feed, you do know where you can go to feed off of, if not someone who is dying, someone who is on their way to death. That is quite easy for you if you would so like it. For you, Edgar, the hunger hits you instantaneously. It is 100 stabs in your back, and itching that crawls up your throat and into your teeth. And you hear the voice of Olivia in your mind saying, "Now be a good boy and get us something to eat."
Smother.
For you, it's a little bit more difficult, Edgar. You have very specific tastes. However, if you would roll me your level in contacts and your wits, tell me your successes, I will let you know if there is anyone wandering the Mitte who is an informant of yours, someone who owes you something. Tulio, would you like to snip off to feed very quickly?
I will, yeah, I'll excuse myself. Excuse me.
Tulio, you would
your name?
100% notice that Edgar is suddenly famished.
You're right there, driver.
Driver. That's funny. You got a sense of humor about you. Doctor.
Oh, geez, I don't believe I caught your name.
Oh, come on, you know me. Everybody knows me.
I think Edwin?
I like the moxie you got, lad.
As he insults you, Edgar, the voice grows a little bit louder. Make him pay, boy. Make him understand. Take his blood.
Alright. So let's just get some baselines down, right? I'm not gonna fuck with you if you don't fuck with me. I want to make that very clear. Our mother has decided that you are worth my time. And I'm inclined to respect that. She's a wise woman, our mother. I suspect you would not like to prove her unwise. You can.
I can. But if we're establishing baselines, Edgar, I think it's quite rude that you haven't offered a meal.
Oh, you
So
haven't?
allow me to be the one to do the heavy lifting in this relationship. You look a bit famished. Can I get you anything?
Fortunately, I have something of a refined palate.
Well, Edgar, we're in my part of town. What can I get you?
I did make that roll for you, honey. I did get 3 successes.
Mm-hmm. So, with 3 successes, let me pull out my handy-dandy little sheet that I have here. You do find a woman named Malica. She is a salubri. And you know that she hangs out down here in the homeless or unhoused housing down here. She does owe you 1 liter of blood.
There's a salubri that lives in the unhoused assistance plats, and She owes me. So I think that might be the way to go in this particular region of town, as it were.
You know,
Let's make our way there, then.
you know Malica, Tulio. She's very kind. She's one of those strange kindred who is an anarch, but she seems to be very detached from their revolutionary spirit. She just doesn't want to be controlled, and she just has this great love for humanity. It's a little bit stomach churning to talk to her for very long, but she is genuinely loved by the people here in the Mitte.
Would I have known she was salubri?
Most assuredly. Most assuredly.
Excellent. Well, let's go pay her a visit then.
Right.
You said she owes you.
A lot of people owe me.
I can imagine a lot of people in this particular neighborhood.
You'd be surprised.
Well, let's make our way then. You look, as I said, famished.
I could eat. It's been a long start to the night.
Don't want to show up to Mother's with an appetite. Would be rude.
It would certainly be unseemly.
As you make your way there, it is not far from here. Edgar, I will tell you the exact details of what Malica owes you. You funded a sort of charity drive that she was running, where she really wanted to increase the quality of food and clothing and medication and everything coming into this particular establishment. And she just could not get it from the Anarch. She could not get it from the Camarilla. She has no acumen for it herself. And you swooped in and did it, but she has not paid you back at all in any sort of cash payment. She has not come to find you. Nothing. She's very much tried to stay hidden from you. So this interaction may require you to make a roll.
Right. All right. So from across the pond, then.
Depends on which pond, I suppose.
Not my side of the pond.
Not your side of the pond, no. We can get into details on the drive.
Sure.
Well, right now
What
you're
a
just walking to the unhoused area, unhoused building. You can enter freely. You look like wealthy people who might be coming in to make a donation. So the person at the door who sees you on the other side buzzes you in, and there's a reception here. And it's a young man, and he looks you both. Can I help you?
Sorry, we're looking for someone. We're here to make a visit and check on the well-being. Just as interested parties.
Is some member of your family in the back?
Correct.
Does they have a name? I can check for you.
Malica.
So. Yeah. And he comes around to the other side and pulls something off of his jacket, a card. Doesn't open the main area where people would be sleeping or in their separate cubicles. It's a back door behind his office. Bitteschön.
Right. Edgar will move towards that door.
As you enter, it's looks like a very large utility area where there is cans of food and medicine, everything that would be storage here, as including cold storage. And you see Malica. She's blonde and very, very tall and sturdily built. She's dressed in scrubs, and she seems to be taking inventory. She turns around as the door opens. Oh my God.
Oh, my darling.
Herr Wade.
How long did you think you could duck me?
Us. We are eternal creatures. I had hoped maybe a few more nights.
I may have been inclined to give you a few more nights. Well, as they say, it's time to pay the piper, lass.
Denkst du, dass ich Blut hier haben? I have no blood here.
Unfortunate. Seems like you should make some then.
Avery.
I'm sorry, darling. You knew the terms when I come calling produce.
Avery, strength or manipulation, whichever's higher for you, and intimidation.
We are going to go with manipulation, and would my specialty in coercion apply here?
It certainly will. I need only 2 successes.
Or hunger?
I do need to make her, because she is a salubri, I do need to make her a roll, because this could go badly for her, but we're okay with that. Here on this channel.
Right.
Yeah, she would definitely know. Okay.
Okay, so that is a total of 5 successes with a messy critical.
With a messy critical. Okay. Well, you're certainly going to intimidate her. As she attempts to try and logic away her debt to you, you don't have time for this. You have somewhere to be. You're hungry. She owes you, and you want it now. So you're going to push her up against one of the cold storage. It's going to be very loud, and a lot of the cans and other things are going to come crashing down on top of her, on top of you, and you're going to hold her up against this wall.
Are there any cameras in this?
There most
room?
certainly are. And the person who was at the reception desk is, you can hear, has pushed out of his chair very quickly, and he's going to be in there any second.
I'm going to use blinding the alloy eye, if it is at all possible.
As a matter of fact, it is. Let's get to Edgar's interaction, and then we'll get right to that.
Right. So I hear the things you're thinking in that mind of yours, and I need you to be very clear on the fact that I am not to be fucked with. Right?
Verstehe. Aber du kannst mein Blut nicht haben, weil du zu hungrig bist. You are too hungry.
Get me the liter you owe me this month. Right. Reckon. No.
That's when the reception person walks in. Make me an I believe it's an intelligence, and your dot's in oblivion.
Is it possible to blood search?
It is always possible to blood search.
Success. Need to spend a point of willpower if that's available to me.
Ramos, you know it is.
Always good to double check.
In Are We Dead Yet? You have 2 points of aggravated willpower damage.
It's 7 successes.
7 successes. And you're using blinding the alloy eye. Cameras cannot perceive the user clearly. All right. I need a rouse check with that as well.
Absolutely. That is a failure.
Okay. So you're going to get a little extra hungry now. And your beast is, of course, him. Take the blood of everyone in this room. It is yours by right.
Of course. Let me clean up his mess first.
Good boy. The receptionist opens the door with his card. And as soon as he does, Marika looks at you, Edgar, and says, "So take his."
Edgar will look over to him, still holding her by the throat. He'll make eyes with this receptionist. And we'll go ahead and employ compel.
Mm-hmm. It's free. And he is mortal.
Come.
Before he can say anything, he looks at you and he does come. Right up to you.
Edgar will put one hand over his mouth, turn his head to the side, like that grip where the fingertips are slightly indenting the skin. He's gripping slightly
and you're
too hard for any.
Holding Micah with the other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. One on one, and look, and he'll turn his eyes to her as he looks and bite.
Mm-hmm. He begins thrashing, screaming, "This is unpleasant for you, Edgar. You do not like to do it this way." And he thrashes against you. And if you'd like to hold on to Marika as well as him, I'm going to need a roll for that, or you can let her go.
He doesn't quite trust her, so we're going to go ahead and make a roll.
Make me a strength and athletics roll.
It's all hunger dice.
Mm-hmm.
2 successes.
Enough. You can hold on to both of them as you feed. How much are you taking?
We're at 4. Let's go to 1.
Okay. I have a very important question for Tulio. You're at 3 hunger now. You see Edgar feeding, drinking a significant amount of time, meaning he's taking a significant amount of blood, meaning he's going to leave this man anemic. Would you like to take a point or 2 for yourself?
I think I'm going to have to.
I think so too. No. Edgar, you feed off of him. His blood is empty in flavor, which is not unusual for you. Don't have an issue with that. You have no dots in Oblivion, so it's not going to affect you in any way. In fact, this is sort of how you prefer the taste of your blood. Plain, simple, efficient. You are not German, but very German, or you're not born necessarily German. And as you drop his body to the ground, Tulio, you go over, you pick him up, and you begin feasting on him as well. That empty feeling is euphoric for you. Till the end of this session, you're going to have an additional die for any Oblivion rolls. But he is already very, very weak. How much are you taking?
I am taking everything.
Excellent. So, Edgar, as you leave him alive, you watch your brand new baby brother pick him up off the ground and feed on him brutally. So severely, eventually, you hear this man's neck snap sideways as Tulio ends his life. Tulio, please take 2 stains. We will deal with that at another time.
Edgar will turn his attention back to Marika.
Marika looks horrified.
I didn't want it to be like this, lass.
Sorry, I don't believe you.
That's fair. Pay on time, and it never has to be like this again. Don't make me come looking for you. You come to me.
I can guarantee, Herr White, wait, you will never see me again.
Well, that better not be true, lass. Look at all the good you're doing in this town. And nobody else seems to give enough of a feck to help you. I do. For a small price. And it didn't have to be that much. I'm not a callous man. You're doing good. And I like to see it. But this is what happens when you're late. It seems like such a small price to pay for timeliness, doesn't it, Doctor? Seems like a small price.
Doctor?
I will If I'm done, I will pull the handkerchief from my pocket and sort of dab at my lips. And you need to learn, and that's just a simple fact of life. Sometimes lessons have to be learned, and they're difficult lessons. The fact of the matter is, my companion here, perhaps out of kindness, perhaps out of ignorance, you did have blood here. Not just him, but he could have taken from you. Remember that. This is a kindness.
Nein. Könnte er nicht. He was too hungry.
Do
Maybe you
think-
don't know enough about my clan, but no, he could not have.
I don't care what your clan does. I don't care what your clan thinks it's capable of. Do you think you're well-liked enough here? Because you are well-liked. Loved, even. But do you think you're well-liked enough here to take on Olivia Duncern?
I'll leave that to Prince Breidenstein.
Good girl.
Please leave.
For the inconvenience, I'm going to need this payment again next month.
Wie ich gesagt habe, you will not find me next month.
Well, we'll see.
Edgar is going to make sure to make eye contact.
Mhm.
I am going to make a rounds check because I'm going to activate Unerring Pursuit.
Ah, so. Mhm. What is the distance on that?
I do not get hungrier.
That's an Auspex power, am I correct?
Yes, yep, that is Auspex 2, Amalgam, Dominate 1.
Tracking a victim. 1 night plus 1 for each success. Alright. She can
So then
roll
dice pool.
a wits and awareness to see if she can see what you're doing. Jeez, why did I give her so much awareness? Okay. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay. What did you roll, Edgar?
In my Resolve and Auspex, I rolled successes on a full pool, which will be 5.
Well, she rolled a messy critical plus 2 more. So, you're going to watch her suddenly become completely overwhelmed by the sight of this man who's dead. And she's just going to push past you and get down on the ground and start covering up his body, closing his eyes, cleaning the wounds around his neck. She is completely taken over by compassion and empathy for what has happened to him. And she will repeat herself and say, I know you will come looking, but you will not find me. Please leave.
We'll see about that then. Doctor, after you.
Tulio will nod at you, Edgar. There's a small smirk, and he will head out first.
It's a very short jaunt and walk back to your car. When you arrive back at your car, whoever you gave the cigarettes and the marijuana to is not there.
Of course they are.
Such a terrible part of the city.
Edgar spits a bit of flesh that got caught in his teeth. Right. Shan't keep mother waiting. Come on, lad.
A bit conspicuous, don't you think? As he's getting into the car.
There are certain proclivities I like to take with family.
Fair enough. It's appreciated.
And Edgar will move around to the driver's seat, hop in.
What did she come to you for?
Well, that's a bit of business. You see, the problem with charitable works is that I
They're not
find
lucrative.
they're not, but they are good for a tax write-off. So she couldn't find funding from the Camarilla. Of course, she couldn't get the fucking anarchs to care enough. So where does everyone go when they've got no corner to turn to? Me.
You're a fucking loan shark.
Oh, that's a bit of an outdated term. I'm not a shark. I ask for respectable, timely payments. That's all. I believe the term we like now is financier.
Financier does have a better roll of the tongue. Does it usually end up poorly? I apologize if I've complicated matters. By all means, I'll do my best to make amends.
You have. I was expecting to milk a few more payments out of that one, but, there's no end to the amount of do-gooders with shallow pockets.
Well, still, I would feel terrible if it puts you out.
I wouldn't.
Call it a minor boon between brothers.
No. Couldn't ask you for that. Your family, after all.
I'll keep it in mind as a favor, then. We'll keep politics out of it.
Speaking of politics,
still light.
Speaking of politics, you did hear Malica say that she would let Prince Bridenstine take care of Olivia. So if everyone would roll me intelligence and politics to see if you actually know what it is she's talking about.
And to double check, Hadi, I am at 0, correct?
In fact, you are.
Excellent.
2 successes.
How many? I'm sorry.
2.
2. Mm-hmm.
It would be 4 successes.
So for you, Edgar, your dealings with the Camarilla are, as one might say, are purely cash-based. You have dealings, hands in every cookie jar, but don't pay too much attention to whatever is going on in their Elysia and their politics, unless Olivia tells you need to pay attention to something, and then once that's passed, then you go back to business as usual. Tulio, however, you've been under her strict tutelage for the last few years, and you get the distinct impression, you do, Edgar might not know this, that you are being groomed for succession. She would have told you that the Malkavian prince of Berlin, Gustav Bridenstine, is becoming more and more unhinged as the years are passing. He has decreed most recently, with 4 successes, he's decreed most recently that there is no ghouling allowed in the Camarilla without his explicit permission, 1, and anything he deems as a masquerade breach, which includes even blood dolls, he is expecting to be culled in the coming nights. Whether you think that to be of great concern, Olivia certainly does. But whether you do, I'll leave entirely up to you. And Edgar does not know this.
Well, Edgar, my offer still stands, although I do think I have a cleanup for you, if that's amenable to you. She wants to get the prince involved, and he's been looser in mind recently. I'm not sure how well, I would imagine as a financier, your proclivity for bullshit is fairly high. So, let's hate to put your morals in question, but if you're comfortable, then I think that we were simply doing the prince's work. Blood dolls and ghouling, any type of masquerade breach, or even potential masquerade breach, is considered a punishable offense. You wanted it culled. We could claim that the creature that I relieved of his life was one of these masquerade breaches. Again, I'd hate to put your morals in question. I don't want to make a liar of you.
I don't think morality has much to do with the lad. She's an anarch. I don't think anything working with this Camarilla Prince's agenda. I don't think it really has much bearing.
Best to cover all bases still.
Sure, I mean, if it comes to question, we can maybe eke some sort of half-truth about doing a contract for Bridenstine, but honestly, I could care fuck all. I'm making money off all of them.
Well, a contingency is always best. But I see where you're coming from.
Should definitely keep it in the pocket for future endeavours, but right now, and admittedly, you may be seeing further into the situation than I am, but at the moment, I don't ken any reason to press it, you know?
Perhaps, but like I said, contingency. One of mother's lessons that's been sticking in my head recently.
You get the fun lessons, don't you?
Depends on what you consider fun. Politics, shaking hands, talking out of the side of your mouth.
She ever give you money?
Amidst other gifts, yes.
How much do you think, roughly? Like, if you had to put a dollar amount on it.
If I had to put a dollar amount.
Oh, you wouldn't.
Far more than I'm
You'd put a
comfortable
euro amount on it.
Correct. If I had to put to a number, far more than I'm comfortable speaking out loud in these parts.
Oh, come on, it's just us boys.
Fair. Out of character. About 2 dots of resources worth, if I'm not mistaken.
In addition to the fact that she has put you on the board of her cryptocurrency company, it has not told Edgar that, and she is planning on making you a CEO of a pharmaceutical racket that she has started running.
Well, that seems fun to share. She wants me to... It's less giving money and more opportunities to make money. Something about cryptocurrency I'm supposed to head up, and if I'm being absolutely honest, it's of very little interest, but what mother wants, mother gets, and I need to read up.
Well, if you would like a fast track, I'm sure I can help. She does like her gifts, doesn't she? Her opportunities, as it were.
Has she given you many?
No. One.
Weren't you her firstborn?
Something like that. She gave me 40,000 euros in about 95.
Given inflation, that's... I think Tulio is doing math in his head and kind of taking stock of the situation, really. Probably just trails off.
For point of reference, she's given you about 150,000 euros in 4 years.
Yeah, he's gonna do math and just trail off.
She gave me 40,000 in 95 and told me to start swapping watches on the street, make my own money. And from there, I've built everything that I have. It's the only money she's ever given me. Only opportunity to make more that I didn't take for my fucking self.
If I might be candid. Good. What do you have now?
I'll take you by my place later.
I'm sure it's far more than any gift could have been given. I don't... I would imagine there is going to be some bad blood because of this. I apologize for that, but allow me to be one of the few that will tell you openly. I respect what you've built on your own. I was being cheeky earlier. I have heard of you. I do know about your business empire. And the fact that you were given but a pittance, then it's all the more respectable. You are a self-made man.
You know, everyone talks about that and sort of the glory of it. But I find that there are two types of, businessmen, right? And there's the kinds that are built, and there's the types that are born. You know what I mean? She's building you, Tulio. You know that, right?
I've gathered.
Do you care to be built?
I was a doctor in a previous life.
I had heard.
If I'm going to be honest, and at risk of sounding vain, I was damn good. This is not what I was born to do. But this is the role that I must fill. So, here I am. And perhaps it's ambition, or maybe it's just ego. But if I'm going to be forced into something that doesn't truly interest me, whatever job I'm going to do, I'm going to be the best fucker there is at it.
Fair enough. This brings to mind a conversation I had with our uncle once upon a time. He said, it's not always about being the best. It's about having the best answer to you. So, while it's just us two boys here in the car, I'll help you. I'm sure a lot of this financial bullshit makes little to no sense to you. We don't have to acknowledge it. If anybody asks, you're doing it on your own. But I get the distinct impression our mother is trying to make the perfect son out of two imperfect sons.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. I may take you up on that. And I'm afraid I don't have much else to offer aside from perhaps some deft hands. But if you ever find yourself wishing to expand into the medical business, such as loans and paying off people's medical bills, by all means, I can introduce you to a few people that might be interested. There are plenty of people that want whatever kind of life it might be. They're unwilling to pull the plug. And they would do anything to keep that plug kept connected.
Isn't that sort of our business, though? Pulling the plug. I mean,
Doesn't seem to be yours.
The big family, Isn't our business supposed to be pulling the plug?
Yes. But I can see that you can profit off of the extension of their lives. And as you've offered me a means to an expansion, I see no reason to not offer you one as well.
Understood. Just let me be very clear on my stance before we continue. It's no secret we're not necromancers. We just don't partake. But I'm not opposed to it. And our relations with the other bloodlines can be stressed.
I've been told as much.
So I think even if we don't enjoy one another's company, Tulio, even if we perchance even despise one another at some point, I think it's best to keep that inward facing, don't you think? We should probably consolidate on an outward level. We're Olivia's two sons. We have to maintain a united front or things start to crumble.
With all of Olivia's lessons, it seems that that is the goal of every family. But I agree, especially amidst bloodline, amidst brothers. We should at the very least outward-facing support one another.
You have my word now and to the end of our undeath. Any gripes that I have with you, they'll be kept between the two of us.
And you have mine.
Perfect.
And with that touching little speech, we're going to break right here very quickly. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our first pre-session episode, Consumerism of Berlin Bloodlines. When last we left off, Edgar and Tulio were driving to Olivia's haven. They had just visited one of the people that Edgar has in his debt, a salubri named Malica. And the exchange didn't go as planned, and someone ended up dead. But that's maybe something we'll have to deal with another time. But speaking of, Tulio, would you like to resolve those stains now or later?
I'd love to resolve them now, if I might.
Please do. You took 2 stains, so you should have 1 dice to roll. I believe, unless you are at 6 humanity and I'm wrong.
I'm at 7 humanity,
Then you have 1 dice to roll.
Excellent.
A success clears your stains. A failure drops you to 6 humanity.
Oh, this is stressful. We're good.
All right, so you clear your stains. You do feel bad that you killed him. You feel like maybe that was not the appropriate response, that you could have just taken 1 and managed for the rest of the night. But you are not going to lose any humanity for that. So you pull up to the absolutely gorgeous, expensive manor home that Olivia owns in Steglitz, Zeelandorf. Both of you know not to park or pull up directly to the home, to park some distance away, as Germany, and especially in nice neighborhoods like this, are very famous for being busybodies, staring out their windows, noting cars that come and go. It is a pastime of the Omas, as they say. And as you approach her home, Tulio, nothing strange to you. You see 2 guards outside of it. You know them to be of the criminal Putanesca. You don't know if you know them by name, but you know almost as long as you've been with Olivia, the Putanesca have been guarding her home and have been performing a lot of the guardian duties for the Hecata in various enterprises. But for you, Edgar, you know that this is very different than how things used to be. Before, when you would arrive at Olivia's home, who was guarding her home? Well, of course, it was members of the Bahari, Hannelore Lamia's children. But now it's just 2 knuckleheads from the Putanesca. They have slick back black hair, very greasy. They're wearing ill-fitting suits, and they are smoking up like chimneys outside of her door as you approach.
Oh, Tweedledee and Tweedle fuck off again. Christ.
They acknowledge you. Hey, you here to see the big lady?
Exactly that.
And they open the doors. And They look at you as if you belong here, but not so much Edgar, and you could clock that immediately. They sort of give him the side eye, the side glance, as if maybe they don't like him that much, or they don't think that he's worth acknowledging the same way that you are.
Is there a problem, gentlemen?
No, there ain't no problem. It's just,
Well, you've greeted me, but not my brother.
Mr. Waite, it's nice to see you this evening.
Edgar will lean in and grab one by the collar and pull him in real close. You look at me out the side of your eye again, then I'll fucking take it. Understand? This is my fucking mother's house.
As you say, sir.
Let go. Fluff his collar. Can't have you looking like ragamuffins out here. How can they? Look sharp, lads.
Wouldn't want that, sir. And Edgar, you would know that this is much different than the interactions you had with the Bahari, with the Lamia. When you arrived, they did their duty. They did not speak to you. They opened the door and resumed their duty. They were very meticulous in their work and took great pride in it. But these Putanesca, they aren't going to last. Not in this job, anyway.
Edgar will look him up and down very quickly once we get him all straightened out. Just shake his head and after you, brother.
I'll take a step. But careful to slow, so I'm walking on Edgar's right, shoulder to shoulder.
Interesting. All right. So you both step into the grand foyer of Olivia's home, and the air is practically saturated with opulence. The floor has intricately patterned Persian rugs, rich dark wood paneling that looks much, much older than the actual house itself, as it might be imported from somewhere very expensive. And you see even the soft glow of her ornate chandeliers reflected in the polished wood. As you wander further, you enter the formal living room, where you find Olivia right in the center, seated at her grand piano, while her brother and your uncle Osric is seated slightly back from her, lounging on a decadent Victoria sofa. I need to know how both of you approach your mother.
Edgar will unbutton his suit jacket, take it off, fold it, lay it over to the back of the couch, and wait to be recognized, standing at sort of an attention.
What about you, Tulio?
I think he keeps the jacket on and then kind of gives a side eye to Edgar as they doff theirs. And he likely a little less formal, honestly. He's still waiting to be acknowledged, but he has his left hand in his pocket. And so standing up a bit straighter, but there's still a little bit of relaxation, I guess. It's just
not quite so formal as Edgar's being. Olivia rises. She's wearing a very tight black dress. Looks like something from the 80s. It has these like taffeta sleeves that come down just over, just in a single line. And she's wearing a string of pearls, several strings around her very delicate neck. She comes to you, Tulio, first. She kisses you on the mouth, both hands on your face. And she says, "Welcome home, my son."
I've missed you so much.
Not nearly as much as I have missed you.
How are you this evening?
We'll talk about it. And she comes over to you, Edgar. She does the same. She puts both hands on your face and kisses you on the mouth. But her kiss with you lingers a little bit longer than with Tulio's, and as she kisses you, you feel a rush of blood enter your mouth, as she has bit into her tongue and forced it into yours. Her blood sends sparks through your body to every limb, and then ceases suddenly.
Edgar takes a moment to soak those feelings in, and I think sort of unconsciously will like lean his forehead against hers as they're in sort of a close embrace. He'll just say, right on schedule.
Just like I told you.
Would it be at all possible to clock this? Or to clock any of this?
You may roll me a wits and awareness to see if you clock either that or something else in this room.
Understood. I think I might risk it again in Blood Surge.
We love it.
I am at Hunger 1.
No voice yet.
Giving that a moment, Edgar will look over to Osric.
If you look over to Osric, I also need a wits and awareness.
I'm going to spend some willpower because I don't feel like it would be great here.
It's not even your last stop of the night.
That is 4 successes.
Yes. You definitely notice the lingering. You can
3 successes.
You can absolutely determine that there is an exchange of blood happening here. For you, Edgar, see Osric looks uncomfortable. 3 successes. It is hard for you to determine if he looks uncomfortable because of Tulio, or if he looks uncomfortable because you are so very intimate in this moment with Olivia.
Just kind of, he'll clock it. Right, guten Abend, mein Onkel.
Spacko, he calls you, which is German for dumbass.
Right, it's good to see you.
It's always a pleasure to see you, boy.
Right, permission to make myself comfortable, Mother?
She smiles. So formal tonight, Edgar.
It's, I find myself reminded of younger days. Joyfully. I miss the structure, as it were.
You did always like to take instruction. Please, both of you sit.
I'll unbutton the coat at this point and keeping it on, but I'll take a seat.
I'm sure that you are both aware that now that my son, Kenneth, has come into his, let's call it maturity, he's made quite a fool of himself all across Berlin.
I heard whispers, yes.
Quick question for the ST. Edgar has been Kenneth's godfather since, like, birth, yeah?
Yes.
Edgar will nod. I've done what I can to put out the fires as they spring up, but he's proving to be a handful, this godson of mine.
That he is. And I had so hoped one of you would be the one to embrace him. But I do not know if that will ever be a possibility. For if it is not sex or drugs or alcohol, none of it, he has consumed so much of it that he gets no pleasure out of it anymore, and he has taken to extreme acts of indulgence.
Such as?
Are you aware of the issues happening outside of the family in this city? The Camarilla, the Anarchs, are you aware of what is happening?
Bits and pieces.
Edgar.
I know where their money's going. If you want me to shut that down for
No.
a time, I can.
That's not what I'm speaking about. Prince Bridenstine is unhinged, paranoid. He is cracking down on this city to an extreme degree. 2 nights ago, he forced his sheriff to murder his own family out of fear that they were a breach of the masquerade. The sheriff was apparently feeding on his own family, and that was unacceptable. He has since left for the Anarchs, and Gustav is not going to take that lightly. He's calling for a mass culling of any unsanctioned ghouls and unsanctioned blood dolls. Your godson, as you call him, Edgar, is right now at Maxim, one of the prince's Elysia, offering his body to any vampire who will drink it. I cannot let his connection to us be discovered. For if the Camarilla is looking at the Anarchs, they are not looking at us.
Understood. To what degree would you like this dealt with?
I want him out of the Elysia. Permanently. Cut whatever deal you have to, and she looks at you specifically, Edgar, with whatever money or any favors that you can. For this is not a simple Elysia. This is the domain of the Keeper. And she looks at you, Tulio. Use your name, my son. It means something still in the city. Save my wretched, foolish boy. And do not let him bring the downfall of this family. For if the hammer of the Camarilla comes down on us, we will not survive.
It will be done.
What would you like us to do with Kenneth, Mother?
She's just going to stare at you.
Understood. Tulio, I think it's time to go.
He will give a small bow and then reach for her hand.
She'll let you take it.
Oh, Tulio will give it a kiss. Rest easy. Tonight, we solve your problems. You will finally know a peaceful day's sleep.
And she'll kiss your forehead. Make me proud.
My life's work.
Also, maybe one quick bit. Mummy, get rid of the fucking puttiness on your door. They're shite. They're not even paying attention. Mum, they didn't even pat us down.
Are you questioning the people I am putting in place to
No.
guard this house?
That's not what I said. I'm just saying those two specifically.
I think you're overstepping, my boy.
At the risk, your health and safety is my greatest concern.
To kind of subtly and quietly, without words, hopefully help Edgar make his point, Tulio will reach into his pocket and pull out something that looks very akin to a knife and unfold and just...
Perhaps just those two, Mummy. I'm sorry, I don't mean to disrespect you.
I will consider it. But, Edgar, when you are finished this evening, return here. I think you require instruction. Long overdue.
Understood. I will let you know when everything is dealt with, and I've taken Tulio home.
She just stares. Her eyes are very cold and gray and large. She stares down both of you, even though she is significantly shorter than the average woman. She has a power of presence that is heavy and hangs over anyone who shares a room with her.
Edgar then will bow and follow Tulio's lead.
As you two are leaving the formal living room, Oswick had gone around, because this is a sort of an old style house where every door leads into different rooms, had gone around to catch you before you leave. And he says, look, boys, if you gotta kill him, do it. Do it clean, do it quiet. Give it to the Nagaraja to take care of.
What is the preference? If we have
Is that
a
a legitimate? He looks so annoyed at you, Tulio, and turns to Edgar. Is that a legitimate question? Do you really think Olivia wants Kenneth dead?
No, sir.
Are you serious?
It will be dealt with accordingly and in due circumstance.
I'm not Olivia, kid. Talk to me for real.
Right, look, here's the issue that I'm having, right? Is exactly what you just said. You're not Olivia, so I don't have to answer directly to you, which makes directives from you a little bit wonky. Now, I am obliged to take your circumstance and opinion into consideration, given Kenneth's nature. So, it will be dealt with, and it will be dealt with accordingly. And I would like you to have as much plausible deniability as possible. So the sooner we could cut this conversation short, the better. My dearest uncle.
When did you get so fucking precious, Edgar? You really don't come by enough. If you think Olivia scares me, you're dead-ass wrong. And if you think
I don't think she scares you.
If you think that I relish the idea of Kenneth dying, then you definitely haven't been paying attention.
I didn't say that. You said that, sir.
What I'm saying, family comes first. And that includes over the people in this family who are threatening to tear it apart.
Couldn't agree more.
Let's hope for you, maybe.
Right. We should be going every second we're here is not a second we're there.
Watch out for that keeper. She's more than what she appears.
Do you know her well, then?
Yes.
Okay, you, uncle. I heard you got around, but...
I was
Give
dead.
me something
I
to
was
work
dead. I was dead long before you were even a thought, boy.
I bet you were. You look it. What dirt have you got on her?
That's the Edgar I was looking for. I ain't got shit dirt on her. But
Ugh.
I know what she wants.
Go on then.
You ever heard of a Kindred in the city? Sort of like a ghost figure that people talk about. Named the Dragon.
Aye.
Don't know anything about them. They've been here longer than me, longer than your mum. They live isolated alone in the Faueninsel, the Peacock Island. There's only one kindred in the city who can get to them. It's a Nosferatu named Yancey. If you can offer her a boon from him, even if you don't have it now, we'll figure it out. It's the only thing that will persuade her. Because she has money, connections, domain, power. She's got it all.
Do we have any fingers in her council? I know I don't, but figure one of us does.
Shit, Olivia didn't tell you. We've pulled out of everything that the Camarella's doing right now.
Why? What? Now's the best time to be in.
Edgar, you know Olivia has, sometimes she sees things, right?
I'd heard.
Things are going to get really bad. Really, really bad in this city. So she wanted everything pulled out. She doesn't want anything turning its gaze on us. And if she says so, then I believe her. I don't have that particular gift.
What sort of bat are we talking here?
No.
Regime changes make money.
Not this one. Not this one. She talked to me about it for a really long time. Can't remember every detail. But the one that sticks out in my head is Prince Bridenstine's corpse dismantled in front of a crowd of humans.
Oh, so that kind of attention.
Yeah. Because
Looks like
as much fun as we have playing our little nightly games, if the humans look at us, well, we're all fucked.
Alright. Yeah. I better get some portfolio changes going when I get home. Fuck.
I don't know why she didn't tell you.
Probably because she thinks that every time I fail, I learn something.
But you do, don't you?
Not necessarily.
Well,
sometimes failure is simply that. With no
that sounds like a
attached.
you problem.
I think it sounds like an us problem. Edgar will just slap him on the shoulder. Right, Tulio, come on.
Yeah, go along, Tulio.
Good evening, Uncle.
And just as they're walking away, Edgar will look back over his shoulder and kind of shoot Osric a glance. Just, narrow his eyes on him for a second.
What's an insight?
Will my specialty in truths count here?
I'll allow it.
Gosh. 6 successes, and 2 of those are a messy crit.
Mm-hmm. So, I'd like you to increase your hunger, please.
Roger.
And you got a double messy critical? Couldn't have. You only had 1 hunger.
Oh, do both of the crits have to be on hunger dice for it to be messy?
No. 1 red, 1 black is a messy, or 2 red critical is also a messy critical.
Yeah, so it's 1 red, 1 black.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you're just going to increase your hunger by 1. I could be really mean and give you, have you fall under your compulsion.
Be as mean as you want.
No, not quite yet. We'll see how the night goes. With 6 successes, you absolutely can tell that Osric, under no circumstances, trusts Tulio. And now that you look at him and you think back to time immemorial, maybe, is he was the first one to talk about how the Giovanni are the reason that everything went wrong. Augustus Giovanni's desire to tear down the shroud is the reason that the Harbingers of Asher came after so many of the elders. It's why the structure is the way that it is now. He was glad there were no Giovanni in Berlin, and he absolutely does not trust them, does not like them. He believed they were had heirs to a fortune that they were never should never have had. So Olivia paying him so much attention and treating him so well is very likely the cause of his additional distrust.
Just as they kind of get out of the house and down the street a little ways, the girl just be like, "You should watch yourself with Osric. Make yourself scarce when he's around."
Why is that? He seems prickly, but no more so than any other of our family.
Especially more so than most of our family. Osric's got a thing with La Familia, as it were.
Well, so the old name won't be doing me any favors with him.
No, quite the opposite, in fact, dear brother. Quite the opposite. Just look, I know Osric. I've known Osric a long time. He's good. He's canny. But none of that's ever going to work in your favor while you're still called Giovanni. Hey, you got to find a way to angle him to spend his canny thoughts elsewhere.
I'll keep it in mind.
Come up with a worse Giovanni than you to point him at?
I can think of a few.
I mean, other than that, Proxy, anything you've got to say to him through me, maybe? That might get him moving in your direction. You know how these old heads are. You know, they want to hear certain things from certain people, but if they heard the same thing from someone else, then
Take
it would be
Mother, for
worthless.
example.
Sure.
How are the two of you?
I couldn't possibly ken your meaning.
Well, the suggestion of Titan security didn't seem to sit well with her. But it's very clear that...
Tulio. Let's roll me another intelligence politics.
Intelligence politics.
Edgar knows why the Putanesca are here. Let's see if Tulio does, because Tulio's the reason. Sort of.
Love that for me.
Sort of tangentially.
Two successes. That is a bestial failure if it's a failure.
Yeah. So no, Olivia never talked about it. So Edgar being like, "Hey, the Putanesca shouldn't be here." Weird. They've always been there. Why shouldn't they be there now?
Right. So here's the thing, lad. I don't think it's been any secret to you that you coming here has caused quite a stir, and of course it's your story. You remember the Rossellini found you, wanted to adopt you.
Yeah.
No, and well, the same thing happened before. Different name, but there wasn't adoption allowed, and so the discrepancy has made quite a stir, as it were.
There's another Giovanni in the city.
No. different bloodline.
I see.
It's a bit touchy. It's a bit of a dodgy subject.
Let's see how much Edgar knows. Let's do wits and politics.
Roger. Dodger.
You are a person who hears many rumors in your line of work. Sometimes when they don't have blood, they have information.
Oh, I need to scrap one of my black die for a red one because my hunger went up.
Surely did.
3 successes.
Okay, so with 3 successes, you would know that Imogen's appearance in Berlin, under almost exactly the circumstances of Tulio's, was an issue because Hannelore Lamia adopted her without Olivia's permission. With 3 successes, you would have heard a rumor from one of the Bahari that used to guard your mother's house. Sometimes you see her around. And you are cordial with them despite your mother's instruction as to not interact with them and do not give them any share of any family businesses. You heard a rumor that Imogen might actually be Giovanni. It's not confirmed, though.
I mean, you're gonna hear things in... Look, you haven't been to a big family gathering, like a big one here in the city yet. So, let me just spare you a bit of the penny corner talk, right? There's a rumor that one of the Lamia, that Hannelore adopted under veritably the same circumstance, that she could have been Giovanni. It's not confirmed. There's no real substance to the rumor as it is currently.
Privately to you, Edgar, with 3 successes and the way Olivia reacted, you're pretty sure that has to be true. And especially confirmed now as how she's treated Tulio as a Giovanni.
Yeah, Edgar's gonna keep that on the inside. Right, there's no real substance to it as far as I'm concerned. No substantiation of the rumor, but there is a Lamia that was adopted by Hannelore. She didn't ask Mummy's permission though, and so now the Lamia and the Bahari are sort of out on their arse as far as family business goes.
How long ago was this?
About 5 years ago, as it were. Look, don't think nothing of it. That's sort of my corner to handle because it's about keeping them out of the family business. But that's why they're putting Escara here now with fucking grease balls.
Well, regardless, I'd love to meet her.
I'm sure
Perhaps you can give a few pointers, being a foundling.
I would keep that bit if you do, find time for a meeting. I would not let Mummy Tyrus know that you are dipping your fingers in the Bahari tank, as it were.
Of course.
She's very, very unappreciative of cooperation on that side of things.
I won't tell if you don't.
What were we talking about?
I don't know.
It's weird. Alright, we've got an Elysium to go to uninvited to save my idiot godson.
Or kill. Just remember that that's on the table.
We're not doing that. And Edgar, the fun time walking down the street with my brother shooting the shit face goes away immediately. And right back to Edgar holding that salubri by the throat business face. That's not an option.
You seem quite adamant.
I take my vows before God very seriously. His failure is my failure. He's only turned out this way because I've allowed him to continue his behavior in an effort to... he might one day figure something about himself out, but it doesn't seem that way, so...
She said that she would have preferred one of us turn him. How's that sit with your god? In terms of your vows, I mean.
He's not ready. He's not ready. Mum's right. He hasn't learned the right lessons. He waits for handouts. He flaunts his... I have areas where I flaunt my wealth, but he flaunts it to everyone who will listen. He's not ready. He hasn't learned the right lessons yet.
You are approaching Maxim, which is in Charlottenburg. It's not far from Olivia's manor home. Is there anything you'd like to do before you enter the Elysium, or approach it? Looking at you, Tulio.
I'm going to... if I might, activate shadow perspective.
Yes.
Before we enter.
Mm-hmm. Seems like a perfect time to do it. Do you know whether or not powers are allowed in Elysia here in Berlin? Let's find out. Intelligence and politics. You're making a lot of these rolls. Instead of a Dex Athletics, like a normal Huddy game, you're going to be making these rolls.
Is both of us?
Indeed.
Excellent.
Also, Tulio, if you want to send that text message, you can as well.
I will absolutely do that.
2 successes.
Mm-hmm. Edgar, best you know, is a maybe. You're not sure. Like, maybe?
A
Sure.
crit. Oh god, that is a crit. That is 5.
Don't get caught and you never have to worry about it.
For you, Tulio, you are for certain, as Olivia has instructed you, the only person who is allowed to use powers in Elysia is the prince and his inner court.
Well...
So you know that going into it. Edgar, unless you tell him.
Fuck him. I will...
That's the brotherly love we were looking for.
Edgar, what I'm about to do is considered taboo. So let's just keep this between you and I.
No problem.
There are none of our special abilities allowed in this place. But I need a quick scope. I don't like going into things blind. You understand?
Of course. That's how our world works. You don't play the game unless you know all the variables.
And I will use shadow perspective on...
Okay. So shadow perspective is for the scene. So when we are there, you can tell me when you want to use it. And
Excellent.
make the rouse check when and if and when you want to do that.
Copy all.
Edgar is going to go and sense the unseen.
Well, let's get to the Elysia before we start running powers through. So you pull in. There is a valet service. I couldn't think of the word for a second. And do you let your car be valet parked?
No. Edgar will park it himself.
Okay. So it was a little bit of distance to walk. So if you want to activate those powers now, you can. Since the unseen is free and not really detectable. Make me the rouse check, Tulio. And please let me know if it is a 1 or a 10.
Shadow perspective is not one of the things I can re-roll. That is a failure. That is not a 1 or a 10, thank God.
Okay. So you're going to increase your hunger. You're now at 2 hunger. everybody's getting a little hungry going into Elysium. And so now you have the option to, when there are shadows around, to sort of throw your senses into it and hear what is going on in said room. Now, this is one of those things, sort of like heightened senses, where you might be overwhelmed by all of the noise, especially since you're going into a strip club. So if you want to listen in on a specific thing, you let me know, and I will have you roll your resolve to see if you can pick out exactly what it is that you want to see or hear. But you park your car and head over to Maxim. There is a bouncer here, and he looks at both of you. You're not really dressed for this place. Where's your leather?
An impromptu visit, that's all.
Edgar will sort of turn his neck to the side, and there is a leather choker under the collar of his...
Why you hide it? Show it off. This is Berlin.
We're here on business.
Oh, I love your accent. You're from England?
You did not just... Christ.
Oh, sorry,
No.
Irland.
Directly in the eyes for Compel. Shut up.
You're gonna have to roll me. I have his
That is-
stats right there.
Manipulation and dominate.
He did not roll well.
As a note as well, Edgar, with Sense the Unseen, you can see what Tulio's doing with shadow perspective.
Perfect. That's going to be 4 successes.
Yep, that beats his. What would you like to tell him to do?
Oh, I just told him to shut up.
And he does.
All right. Come on, brother.
Tulio, did you send that text message?
I did.
What did it say exactly?
Unswayable bound to Olivia.
The response you receive is, eliminate him.
There will be no reply.
As you enter into the reverie, as we would say, you are enveloped in what can only be described as unbridled decadence, which is completely common and not surprising to either of you at all, because you live in Berlin and that's sort of their whole vibe. The stage is the focal point of the room, and it's bathed in all these seductive lightings that accentuate all the curves and the movements of all the dancers who are writhing and receiving money from the patrons, who are also blowing smoke in their face in equal measure. They're clad in lavish and provocative costumes, a lot of leather, and exude confidence and allure as they command the presence of the stage. And the playlist is sultry and techno-pop, pulses through the air, and it sets the tone of the place. And there are a lot of people here. 50, 60, if not more, that you can clock just from where you are at the entrance. This place is busy.
Cursory glance for my godson.
Wits and awareness, please. We will see who you see. Where's my list? There it is.
Okay. That is going to be...
Make that roll for me too, Tulio, if you haven't already.
three successes.
Wow, that's exactly what I was looking for Kenneth. Wow.
2 successes.
All right. So, as you scan the room, you spot Kenneth almost immediately, but he's leaving. Not the club, but he's heading from behind the stage. He is holding hands with a very attractive young man who is covered in tattoos, is not wearing a shirt, and has a shaved head. And he is leading Kenneth to an area that you cannot see from where you are. But you clock immediately Kenneth is wearing that Hugo Boss suit that you bought him for his communion. You know immediately that it's him. And Tulio, you don't see Kenneth, but you do see someone who you think looks familiar. You think, now that you see them, you think you saw them on the street once, or maybe they came by Olivia's house once when you were there, and they were turned away rather roughly. Her name is Carla Lamia. You see she's seated very close to the stage, and she's enjoying the dancing. Edgar, take action with you first.
Edgar will just lean over kind of into Leo's ear. Got eyes on him going backstage. Come on, lad.
Yes. One thing at a time.
So both of you head backstage. It's going to take you a few minutes to get through the crowd of people. I'm going to be really evil. Make me a dexterity athletics. See how well you can get through this crowd of people, and roll well.
Ooh. 3 successes.
That's well. How about you, Tulio?
There's one success.
Not so much. Tulio, you're not going to be able to keep up with Edgar because you are going to run smack dab into someone who you don't recognize immediately at first, and then you do recognize them. And they are extraordinarily important in this city. You're going to run into the child of the prince, Stefan. And we'll get to that in just a minute. But Edgar, you don't notice Tulio has fallen behind in the crowd. You are single-focused on your godson. And you make your way to the back rooms, and here the music sort of falls away a little bit. It's softened a little bit. There seems to be paneling on the walls that is to keep the sound in the proper room. But what you do hear in here is a lot of sounds of passion and indulgence, eroticism. That's all you can hear in here. Rouse check, please.
Success.
Mm-hmm. Not really your vibe anyway. So, you have to look in every room. You look in the first room and you see 2 people making love on a bed. Not Kenneth. You move on to the next room. Same sort of thing, except something maybe a little kinkier. Finally, in the last room, you see that Kenneth is in halfway undress of his very nice suit, very expensive suit. And he's sitting on the lap of this tattooed man, and this man is feeding off of Kenneth, and Kenneth looks like he is an absolute unbridled joy.
Edgar's gonna reach in his jacket. There's a screwdriver in there.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll walk up and he'll grab this person feeding on Kenneth by the hair.
Mm-hmm.
Pull their head back. Just say, get a real good look at me, lad. Look at him. And he'll turn his head to look at Kenneth. You see him in here again? You get him thrown out, and he'll jam the screwdriver in his eye.
All right. He's not expecting it. He was busy, so I will allow it. He screams. He yells. The fuck do you think you're doing? The fuck do you think this is? This is a goddamn Elysium. He's a fucking blood doll. Pulls the screwdriver out of his eye.
This is not a blood doll. And you should know exactly who you fucked with.
I think you don't know who you fucked with.
Alright. Let's level then. I've taken some of your blood. You've taken some of Olivia fucking Dunsarn's blood.
So? Is your name Olivia, boy?
Don't fucking answer that, Kenneth.
Kenneth is furious. He stands up now that the euphoria is gone, and he says, "What the fuck are you doing here, Uncle Eddie?"
Be quiet and stand in the fucking corner, lad.
Looks dejected, but he does what you say.
Right. Now, I suspect you're some sort of Toria or Puff, yeah?
Something like that.
Right.
He's going to heal
let's-
his eye as he talks to you.
Let's get down to brass tacks, lad.
Oh, God. Uh-huh. He's going to fail all his rouse checks.
You've taken something that belongs to the Hecata, our blood.
Have I?
Aye.
Ask your blood if he signed a pact with the Keeper.
Get to that. But right now we're talking about you, aye?
Aye.
So,
Funny.
let's make restitution. Ready?
Don't think so. You're not on Hecata turf, Deathling.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You stormed into this Elysia, my sire's Elysia, stuck a screwdriver in my eye,
Mm-hmm.
and took a blood doll bound to this club.
Yeah. That's a matter of perspective.
No. It's a matter of decree. Didn't tell us he was a Hecata, though. Doesn't taste like a Hecata.
Well, he is. So would you say we've made equitable recompense? You've bled for me, and my blood's bled for you, and here we are.
You haven't done shit for me. But don't worry.
What's your angle? What do you want?
I want you to talk to Violette.
I'm sure that can be arranged.
Oh, it will be. And he points upward. Cameras, baby. She's always watching us.
What is it you crowd say? Ja, doch. Right, one of those?
Do I sound like a kraut to you?
That's fair.
What do they call you? Haggis?
I like you. You're starting to grow on me a bit.
Meanwhile,
God.
Tulio, you lost sight of your brother, and you have run smack dab into the child of the Malkavian prince. You don't remember his name, though, but you do recognize his face. What a strange embrace, you think. He's thin, pale, and wearing glasses, and hunched over. He looks completely out of place here. Nervous, scared even. And he just stares at you, these very dark eyes. Oh. Well. It's you.
It's you.
No, it's you.
And how are you this evening?
I don't know. All I can see is shadow everywhere I look. Is it you? Are you making the shadow? Or is it him?
I commonly make use of the shadows, but this tonight is not me.
But I see him inside you. Whispers.
I'm afraid I don't know who you're referring to.
Yes, you do. Don't lie. I hate liars.
What do you hear if you were to listen?
I hear the crying of 1,000,000 souls under the ground. Do you hear it?
Afraid not.
But you want to. That's why he picked you. I know. I knew it. I knew it.
You're quite astute. Do people tell you that?
Astute. 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 Yes. Yes, I am.
Have you seen anything or anybody else come in here? I'm afraid I've lost a companion. 2 of them, actually.
But not as many as she has. I knew it. I knew it. I said it. I said that this was going to happen. I said it. Gustav will listen to me now. Because I've seen you.
Happy to help.
You should probably kill the witch. She knows too much. Have a good night.
Good evening. And Tulio will take note of everything that was said.
I'm sure Tulio will.
for later use. And head hopefully in the direction of where he last saw Edgar.
And as you start heading in the direction of Edgar, something whizzes past you. Quick as lightning. All you see is a blonde streak, barely. In a single second. As you are having this argument, Edgar, with this person who has not named themselves, a woman is standing in front of you. She's extremely attractive. She's long blonde hair and bright blue eyes, and she looks like she has what one might call a swimmer's body. Like at one time in her life, she was very athletic, perhaps even known for it. You think, as you look at her, Osric maybe, got with her maybe when she was still mortal. You think maybe she was an Olympian. You get this weird feeling that you've seen her on a reel or in a newspaper on the internet or somewhere. But you can't quite place it. She looks you up and down. Hallo, Suse.
Guten Abend.
Oh, you're making a mess of my establishment. Das ist nicht so schön.
Which I would more than happily monetarily compensate you for.
Tulio, you can enter now at this point. You see this exchange happening.
Edgar leans down and picks up the bloody screwdriver and wipes it off on his pocket square.
No.
No.
That touched my floor. Jetzt gehört zu mir. Give me.
He'll hand it over to her.
And she'll lick it. Put it behind her.
Right?
Why did you do that?
I believe the term that is used is blood calls to blood.
How delicious. And you? Is this your friend?
That is my brother.
Okay. And you have come here to steal my blood doll?
We've come to collect an asset.
I
Our
see.
asset.
Your asset. He gave himself to me.
Under false pretense.
Signed a contract in blood. Are you an Anwalt? Bist du ein Anwalt? Are you a lawyer?
I am.
Are you a lawyer for the Camarilla?
No, unfortunately
Then your
for
law
you,
means absolutely nothing to me. Nor does your incestuous family.
I believe there's
If you two would like a room, I have one available.
I believe there's an explicit promise that requires you to observe our laws.
Shall we discuss the promise?
Surely we can, if you would like.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It's run out. Or haven't you heard? Tick, tick, tick. You don't hear the ticking of the clock?
Not quite yet. But before we get to any further discussion, I think some proprieties should be met. I don't think I know your name.
Violet Fisher.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Violet Fisher.
Correct.
My name is Dr. Tulio Giovanni. And we've come to acquire an asset. Not of just the Hecatas, but of the Giovanni.
That is a surprise. Giovanni. That is a name I have not heard in many years. Woher kommst du, Herr Giovanni? Where do you come from? Certainly not Berlin.
The United States.
Make me a manipulation and subterfuge roll, please.
Yes,
Our
ma'am.
dots for this are quite significantly high.
I'm going to go ahead and blood surge.
You might want to.
Success.
She has 8 dice for this roll.
As do I, Ms. Violet Fisher.
That is 8 successes with a critical.
Okay. Let's see. Unfortunate. I'm going to spend a point of willpower. We're going to fish for a crit real quick.
Fish for it. Oops, go fishing.
No crit, but also 8 successes.
Wonderful. So, tie goes to the active kindred. That's you. She doesn't believe that you're from the United States, but she can't quite place your accent. Die Vereinigte Staaten. Nee. Glaub's nicht.
Sorry, I'm still learning the language. You're going to, if we might switch to a colloquial tongue.
I do not believe you are from the United States. Vereinigte Staaten. Write it down. That's how you say United States.
I'll remember.
But you're also not from Berlin.
That's correct.
Well, Herr Giovanni, I do appreciate. I do put, I do put some stock into your name. And I do put stock into the promise. Herr.
Wait, Edgar. Wait.
That is not a bloodline, I know. Is there a new one now? You have so many.
Oh, don't worry about me, lass. I just do the dirt.
Why would I ever worry about you? I don't know you. I appreciate these things, but when one of you walks willingly into my establishment, crosses the line into my domain, especially a mortal of your bloodline, and offers himself on bended knee, open-mouthed, to receive pleasure here night after night, well, I signed the contract with him. I sign it in his blood, in my blood. And there is nothing that you can say to me that would not force me to bring the new sheriff here to deal with you personally. Or perhaps the scourges. They love a good hunt.
Miss Fisher, I'm afraid, again, I don't quite understand the language in full. But what I am inclined to understand is the threat.
Nee, no threat. Fakten. Wir machen hier Fakten. Facts. I had no ill will. I did not. You were perfectly welcome to come into my establishment, and then someone stuck a screwdriver in my child's eye. That is a fact, Herr Giovanni. A fact.
All because of the folly of youth of one of our own. You are correct. We stormed your domain, and you have my deepest apologies for that. However, you and I both know that you bring the scourge, you bring the sheriff, you invite an even further issue to your Elysium.
Wie?
You say you honor the promise. For what time remains. So all that we ask is that you honor it.
I have.
What can make this right?
What have I not honored, Herr Giovanni? Herr Wade.
Right, so let's start.
I did not kidnap your blood off the street. He came here. And he was doing services for free. Well,
Right,
before I
let's be
ever
very
talked to
clear.
him.
Before this conversation continues from a point you brought up the stance of law and barristers, I would like to see the contract as the representative legal party for Kenneth Dodson.
It's in my blood, Susa. You want a taste?
Girl, look her up and down. No, I think yours has been sampled by a Dunsound one too many.
Oh my, yes.
Osric sends his regards.
Oh, how is that fat old bastard? He's still hung like a horse.
I wouldn't know, darling. I wouldn't.
Somehow I doubt that.
However, the contract that Kenneth has made with you is in fact null and void, for he is not in ownership of his own blood.
I don't know what that means.
You've essentially made a contract with a minor here, to put it in mortal terms. Not legally binding. What's the German words for it, Edgar?
I don't know what you are talking about. He is of legal age. And we don't really have that amongst our society. Not
His
that I
blood
would
has
partake
been claimed by another.
Oh, then they can certainly come here and explain to me why they have not already given him their blood.
I'm standing right here.
His blood is not in your veins. Mine is. And it wasn't. I sampled it first. As if this is my first go-around, Herr Wade.
Violet Fisher, do you really want to go to war over a blood doll?
Go to war? I think this would be the absolute catalyst for Prince Breidenstein to finally eliminate your kind from the city. Do I want that? No. I do enjoy seeing Osric from time to time. But if there is nothing that you can offer me in exchange for this boy, then our business here is done. Vorbei.
I hear you've got your ear to the ground on a Nosferatu by the name of Yancey. Is that right?
Catches her attention. Oh, Osric.
Well, just so happens...
That was supposed to be pillow talk.
Right. It just so happens the lad owes me a favour, so...
How good are you at lying?
Decent.
Lie for me.
I'm going to assume my ingenue merit kicks in here.
Absolutely. Add 2 extra dice for that. Manipulation and subterfuge. She will roll her wits and insight. Again, she has 8 dice for this roll. Blood surge, willpower, whatever you want to do. Do you have anything that assists with lying, Tulio, on your sheet?
Nothing that would help in this moment.
How many dots in manipulation do you have?
3.
Add 1 dice extra to your roll, Edgar.
I will roll a quick rouse to rouse blood.
I rolled really no good.
I succeed.
Why do I do this? I should just not roll at all for anyone. This is bad. Let me let's see.
What am I looking at here? Jesus.
it's blinking too much. You can't see it. But that's
I'm catching crits.
That's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I'm gonna take a picture of mine real quick.
12 successes. How is that possible? Come on. I just rolled 8 successes. This is Transylvania Beckons all over again, where I ruined the secret plot. This is I terrible. Absolutely outrageous. What a bitch.
I love it.
So that is
What a bitch Violette is.
2.
Yes. Get it,
5,
boo.
6, 7, 8. That's oh god. So crit is
4.
2.
I'll count 4.
Crit's 4.
I'll count 4,
Yes.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Spend a willpower, roll that last one.
Spending willpower, rolling the last one. It is an Ankh.
That's 12. 12 to 12. Amazing.
We're doing great.
You guys are doing so good. That's amazing. So she doesn't immediately believe you that you have boon from Yancy, but the fact that you know that she wants one does pique her attention. She sort of plays with her hair for a second. Do you know about Yancy, Herr Vade?
I knew he communes with the dragon on the Peninsula.
She almost shudders. What's that he does?
You know, I have a spot where I get to look over the Peninsula. You're always welcome if you'd like an invitation, Adara. Perhaps you might see something that interests you.
She looks you up and down. Nicht mein Tipp. I would rather... What do you know of the dragon?
Oh, I know that nobody gets to see him but Yancy. Nobody that wants to come back, anyway.
Have you heard what they say about the dragon? They say, if the dragon enters the mainland, a kindred dies.
That's the story.
And yet Yancy can go back and forth to the Peninsula and commune with the dragon.
Again, that's the story.
Well, Herr Vade, Herr Giovanni, you have made a most agreeable exchange. You get me a boon transferred from Yancy. You can take the boy. And to make it perfectly clear how interested I am in this deal, and she turns to his name's Sigmund, who is repairing his eye, and she says, "Go get the fackel. Go get the fackel upstairs." And he leaves. She grabs Kenneth, and she looks him in the face. And she doesn't have to roll any dice. And she's going to tell him, "You are not allowed back here. You are not allowed to be sampled upon, ever, by anyone in this building." And he nods. And then she pushes him into your arms, Edgar. You can have him back. And when Sigmund returns, he returns with a middle-aged woman. So what we might call curvaceous or plus-sized. She's dressed wearing a satin shirt that's only buttoned in one place. So her upper area and her midriff are exposed, and she's wearing very well-tailored slacks with that, high heels. And Sigmund is grabbing her a little roughly by the elbow, and he says, "Here, Fackel." And all of you would know Fackel is sort of a German slang term for pig. And she says, "You, Hecata, do things with money, right? That's your thing. If it's not dead people, it's dead people's money. Right?"
Continue.
Sorry, nochmal. Your accent is so...
Hey, doch.
Yeah. This one here, she used to be a blood doll, but she's gotten old. She's too old now, and doesn't bring in the customers. But she's very good with money. I put her up in the office where no one can see her, and you can have her. And if you don't want her, that's also okay, because I believe the culling will begin tomorrow.
No, I'll take her.
Well, that was quick. You do know about the culling, yes?
You've heard?
Yes. You came just in time. And she smiles, knowing that Kenneth was going to die, and she didn't have to make any deal with you at all.
Right.
Brother,
would
you have to ask the Fackel her name. I don't remember it.
Right, get to that. Brother, would you mind escorting our... Take Kenneth and the woman to the car, please. I'll be along shortly.
Of course.
Kenneth is immediately like, "Uncle Tulio, I'm sorry. Please don't tell Mom. Please don't tell Mom."
Get to the fucking car.
This is so fucked. And you're going to escort them out?
I'm going to take them just outside this space. You described a hallway full of doors.
Mm-hmm.
If I might...
Pleasure rooms.
Yes, if I might just keep a hand on Kenneth whenever we reach the end of the hall, so that I can still keep the shadows in line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
And just tell the two of them to wait. And then I'm just going to activate now shadow perspective and be a part of this conversation.
Wonderful. You already made that rouse check, so you're all good. It's loud in here, so make me a resolve and oblivion roll.
Can Edgar clock that Tulio is listening with Sense the Unseen?
Well, we'll make this sort of a roll off here. Roll me wits and aspects. And whatever you roll in resolve and oblivion, that's sort of how we'll do this. So we don't have anyone rolling dice all night. Unless you want to roll dice all night. I'm here for that too. I guess Fackel's more like piglet than pig. Cloud, stop licking your paw. That's what I call my cat. This is... Oh, how many dice are you rolling?
So many.
Oh dear.
A few of them leaped out, so I had to make some rerolls. That is going to be 4 successes, no crit, and also a bestial failure if it fails.
No, you're all right. So, no, you don't know that Tulio is listening, and Tulio, you can hear everything.
Edgar will open up his silver inlaid cigarette case. Get for a fuck?
She looks down at it. Do you roll them yourself?
Yeah.
Sure. And she takes one.
Edgar will pull the lighter out, light her cigarette, light his own. And then say, alright, well, you both had a drag, seems business is done. It's customary to kiss each cheek after you make a deal.
If you want to kiss me, Howait, you must simply ask.
This is me asking, darling.
And she'll stand there and wait for you to do it.
Edgar will kiss both of her cheeks and he'll lean in, say, I've seen something about your prince. He's going to be dismembered in a crowd of mortals. You should be careful putting your faith in him. We're much more stable, darling.
She'll sort of smile and then kiss one of your cheeks. Tell Osric to expect a call from his Violet.
I surely will. And I'm sure he'll be overjoyed to hear from you.
That's not the word I would use, but okay.
One last thing. You still got something of mine?
Oh, no. This is a parting gift. If you want it back, maybe I'll come by the Fauninsel and give it to you.
Fair enough. I'll be expecting it with interest then.
I think that can be arranged.
And you're all nod. Put out a cigarette and leave the room.
Mm-hmm. And Tulio, you can hear him walking towards you if you'd like to start heading back towards the door, or anything else you'd like to do to sort of hide what you were doing.
I'm not going to hide it from Edgar. I'm going to hold there. So, Edgar, you'll see that I've been waiting. And as a note, I'm not going to drop it. It's up to one scene, so that's kind of up to you when it drops.
We're still in the scene.
Excellent. So if I happen to pick anything up from her while she's still in that room, that's where those sentences will be.
Okay.
Nosy boy. Come on, lad.
Did you think I was going to just let you be alone with her?
Nay, I had an idea. And he'll grab Kenneth hard on the back of the neck. You've got some fucking explaining to do, lad.
The woman who is with you looks confused and also a little terrified at your
What you call
burst of
darling?
Violence. They call me Ellen.
Ellen.
No,
Turkish
Violet
is-
calls me Piglet.
Right, fuck her. Your name's Aelin. And no one's ever gonna talk to you like that again. Right?
Are you giving me a job?
We can talk about that.
What did she mean? What culling? I don't know this word. Culling.
It's not something you have to worry about anymore.
But someone has to.
Do you have any friends that are like you in the situation you're in?
She looks around at the room. My friends are here. Are they
Edgar
going
would
to be called? What is called?
Let's get out the club first.
I'll follow Edgar.
Edgar's gonna call up one of his people to bring a bigger car because the car that they drove here was a fucking two-seater.
Yeah, so it's gonna take a minute for a car to arrive. So you are just outside the club, and Kenneth is just so incensed, and he's like, Uncle Eddie, please, you don't understand. You don't know what it fucking feels like.
You will speak when spoken to, Kenneth.
Nobody fucking understands. It's so fucking typical of this family.
Edgar is gonna grab him by the hair and look him in the eye. No one in this family loves you the way I do. I understand. Shut your fucking mouth.
He is a ghoul at this moment.
Not using dominate.
No, that's not why I say it. I'm going to make him a willpower roll really quick, because he's going to want to say something to that. He can keep it in though. He doesn't say anything further.
Right, now that we're out of the club. Aelin, was it?
Yes. What is your name?
Edgar.
Edgar.
Hey. Listen, this isn't easy to say. But the folk who are like you, who know things, there are two options that the Kindred with which you are associated have. And it is to turn you at behest of the... I think you require a prince's permission or some shite. Or kill you.
Kill? Violetta's going to kill the girls.
Unless she wants to defy Einstein.
I don't know who that is.
He's just another powerful prick you don't have to worry about anymore. We can't save everyone.
And what happens to me?
We can talk about that later. But I'm inclined to listen to what you have to say.
I don't want to be called.
I have no inclination to call you. We don't answer to that particular powerful prick.
Are you like Giancarlo Puttanesca?
How do you know Giancarlo Puttanesca?
He's a regular. Or he used to be before he stopped coming by. But he would talk about how the family, that he was different than the others. And then he stopped coming by. I don't know why.
Because he talked too much, it seems. But yes.
I didn't tell anyone.
No. Good on you for that. Do you know anyone by the surname of Lamia?
Yes.
I imagine you do in this line of work.
Yes. I know Carla Lamia. She comes here often. And Imogen Lamia.
Why don't you talk to my brother here about Imogen Lamia while my godson and I have a very in-depth conversation about his conduct?
Okay. Hello.
And
Hello.
Edgar will side off with Kenneth as they have their conversation.
What is your name?
My name is Tulio. Dr. Tulio Giovanni. It's a pleasure to meet you, Aelin.
Sounds like a very elegant name.
Thank you. Is Aelin your real name?
Yes.
Well, Aelin, as my brother said, I am very interested in this Imogen Lamia. Can you tell me everything you know?
Everything I know. I only met her one time. She came with some other women who come to the club sometimes. And they went to one of the pleasure rooms
And I spoke to Imogen. She waited outside the room while they did what they do in there. And she just spoke to me about how beautiful I would look in her garden. She kept telling me that I reminded her of a flower in her garden, a jasmine flower.
I can see the comparison.
She sort of smiles.
Is that all, Aelin?
She seemed confused, or she seemed... I don't know. She wasn't like the other Lamia. They come often. They perform what Violet calls their deathling ritual. In the room. The pleasure room. But Imogen, she didn't seem like... I can't explain it. I'm sorry. I must sound very strange.
No,
but she didn't seem like she belonged.
That is a sad thing. Thank you, Aelin. Is that all?
About Imogen? Yes. I only met her once. And she said I would look nice in her garden.
I don't have any doubt in my mind that she would light up any garden and pale any flowers that were compared to you.
I very wish I had more customers like you. Perhaps I wouldn't have been sent to the office, but I like the office. I'm very good with numbers. They make sense to me.
It's an excellent skill, and I'm sure my brother will very much appreciate it. We're going to keep you safe.
From the culling.
From everything.
Okay. And she'll laugh.
That's all I have for her for now. While Edgar has stepped away, I'm going to text that number everything.
Mm-hmm. The response will be, meet her, bring her in, or eliminate her.
Yes, sir.
Meanwhile, Edgar. Kenneth is stomping on the ground, kicking. He's making an absolute fool of himself. He is so pent up and angry in this moment. He's kicking his feet against the building.
Why can't you let your aggression out like a normal fucking human being for it?
It's exactly what I was fucking trying to do. I was trying to make it go away.
You're acting like a child. Kenneth, I'm tired of treating you like a lad.
You know, you said something, Uncle Eddie. You said, nobody loves me like you love me. There's someone who's supposed to love me more than you love me.
Right? Who's that?
Bella. But she doesn't, Uncle Eddie. I know she doesn't.
You want me to fix that?
I don't know. How do you fix how every time I go to see her, all she can talk about is Auntie Adelaide? How do you fix that? Or she talks about how handsome Uncle Tulio is, or how commanding Osric is, or, you know, she talks about how great you look in a suit.
Are you hearing what I'm hearing?
Fuck are you talking about?
She's telling you what to do to get her attention. Son.
Fuck you, man. I have done everything for her.
I'm not saying you haven't, lad. Look at me. Really look at me.
And he does.
You're wallowing. You're looking in instead of looking out. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. We should all look in every now and again. Aye? But you spend all your time looking in at yourself. You've forgotten what everyone else sees when they look at you.
What do you see when you look at me?
I see a man, a young man, with so much sadness in him that you can't see past it. Hey?
Well, that's what I try and do. Numb it.
Hey, son.
And Bella doesn't want someone numb.
And she's told you things about every single person that she finds conflagrating. And she's hoping that they'll spark something in you.
All it does is tell me that I'm not worthy of her attention. And I tell you, Uncle Eddie, Auntie Adelaide has got a grip on her that will make Mama's head explode.
And I plan on dealing with that. There is a reckoning to come.
Eddie, not even Mom likes to talk to Alexander Nagaraja.
There are certain things about me that are why our mother chose me to receive the blood. And it's because there is no one I will not talk to for the right price. And seeing you out of whatever fucking phase this is of your life is the right fucking price.
So you're gonna ice Auntie Adelaide, huh?
There are easier ways to deal with things than killing people.
Yeah, I had a pretty good thing going in there.
Right? And look at me when I tell you, you about got that poor fucker in there killed. I had no compunction ripping his fucking head off on camera. That is the length that I will go for you. Aye? You can.
I can.
And Edgar will grab him by the jaw. There will be a day when you are running this family.
He laughs uproariously. God damn, Eddie. You haven't been paying attention at all. It's not going to be me, and it's not going to be you. It's going to be Tulio.
Have you not been paying attention to a single fucking lesson that I have ever given you? We don't ever fucking rule. We own the people who do. Aye? So screw your fucking head on straight and figure out who you have to fucking buy to win the fucking game. Because you got all the money in the world, lad, but none of the fucking sense.
He begins to sob. The only person I want to buy is Bella.
Then figure it out. Ask me things. Don't go running off to some fucking Camarilla fucking pit club trying to fucking run from your problems. Ask me. Christ, I held you in my arms inside the fucking cathedral when you were born, lad. Ask me. I'm here. I'm always here. Right, alright, let's backtrack a little bit. The last time you fucked up, who came to get you?
It's always you.
And it will always fucking be me.
You're not my dad, are you?
Do the math.
Not my strong suit.
Oh, you better make it your fucking strong suit. And alright, snappy quick.
Fine. I just want to go home. I just want to go home.
Why don't you stay at my place tonight?
No. I can't look at that fucking... Don't know how you can live there looking out at that fucking island. It's so fucking creepy. You don't feel it? I get this weirdest feeling whenever I'm near it.
So do I.
Yeah, but you
But
like
it's
that
the
shit.
same reason I never do business on a full stomach.
No, I'm gonna go stay at the Berliner Platz,
No, you're not.
the hotel.
You're gonna stay with me, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because you always forget to ask me why. Say, why, Uncle Eddie? Why are we doing this? Go on.
Why, Uncle Eddie? Why are we doing this?
Because your Uncle Osric is nae too pleased with you over this one. Like straw that broke the camel's back, not pleased
That's why
with
I
you.
want to go
over
to
it.
the hotel.
Answer me plainly. Do you want to die?
He hesitates. No.
I'm not judging you. Just really take a minute to think about it.
Sometimes.
Do you want to die right now?
No.
You're staying at my place because if I take you anywhere else, Osric's gonna put a hit on you.
Are you gonna
Nope.
Are you gonna be there?
At my own house?
You have somewhere to be tonight.
No. You can turn off the neons if you want. You can stay in the fucking master
Keep the
bedroom.
neons
if
on.
you care to.
Blocks out the fucking island.
Just you can stay in my room if you like. Just
You still have that sexy maid that comes by at night?
you may partake of the room service if you like.
All right.
Just make sure she's into it. Last time you were a little pushy.
Some women like that.
I am aware, but not all.
Fine, whatever. I'm just so over.
Unless you want me to get a different sexy maid, then now we
Just want to fuck. I just want to fuck something until I can't remember my own name. So I'm not that picky right now.
Can be arranged. All right. Why don't we do this? I've got another car coming for us. I can't believe I'm about to hand you the keys. He'll take the keys to the Opal.
I am
Put them in his hand.
way too fucking wasted. But what about her? Does she know how to drive?
Right, Aelin, lass, you ken how to put a vehicle down the road.
Yes.
You're gonna drive my nephew back to my place. You're gonna stay there too. You live with me now, alright?
Oh. Okay. Okay. This is a very weird.
Alright,
weird
just
night.
go sit in the car, Kenneth. I need to speak with Aelin for a moment.
He does.
He'll wave Aelin over since they're kind of standing in the alley. Do a cursory camera check.
Not out here.
Right. Violet, said you're good with numbers.
I think so.
Edgar will take a card out for his business and hand it to her. You ever heard of me?
She looks down. Wait, enterprises?
Hmm.
Yes, I have.
The largest
Are
portfolio
you-
you've ever managed.
Are you Edgar Waite?
That would be me.
I had this dream of going to your office and applying for a job. Once I started working in the office here, I thought it would maybe be a future for me.
Right, how did you end up here, lass?
It's a very complicated story, but I am of immigrant parents. Language barriers always difficult, and they are not healthy. And so Violet pays very well. I heard about it through word of mouth.
Alright, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna ask you 3 simple questions, and I need you to give the best answer that you can give me. You speak English well enough to get along in an office setting.
Yes.
How much was Violette paying you?
She was paying me 12 euros an hour, 6 days a week.
Alright, and your parents, they're in hospital?
They're in a facility, hospice care, it is called. I tried to put them in a nice one, because it's expensive.
Alright, here's what we're gonna do, Helen, if you're amenable to this sort of thing. All of the bills for the hospice care your parents are receiving, we're going to have all of those rerouted to an auto-drafting payment from one of my accounts. I will take care of your parents. That's not something you have to worry about anymore. We're going to... Fuck it. Let's say we're going to triple your salary. Right? Does that sound amenable to you?
Is that a serious question? That's like...
I did ask it.
Something out of the dream.
Well, pinch yourself. Are you dreaming?
No.
Right, so is that amenable to you?
Yes, sir.
Final thing. What's the largest portfolio you've ever managed as far as financial spread?
Violet had me handle an account from Berghain.
Really?
Yes, there's a woman whose name is... I think it's a code name. She's called the Lamb. But Violet always called her Witch.
Right, the witch of Kudam.
Kudam?
Interesting.
I've always wanted to go shopping in Kudam.
I'll take you tomorrow night. Alright. You're gonna manage my firm during the day.
I'm going to manage Wait Enterprises during the daytime.
Aye. Money never sleeps.
I'm very sorry, Mr. Waite. I am not trying to sound ungrateful.
Then don't.
But I must ask. You are expecting something of me, yes?
Not entirely sure I know what you mean.
And she sort of looks back at the club. I understand how these things work.
No, lass. No. What you did in there, you're never gonna have to do again, unless you wanna.
I would do it for you.
That's... under what merit?
Sorry, I don't understand that phrase. Is that, Schottish?
No, lass. I mean, you don't know me from Adam.
I don't see the relevance, sir.
I mean, look, I don't make a lot of time in my day for charitable works of my own, but I'm making time today. You never have to do what you did in that building with anyone who you don't want to because you like who they are. You don't have to fuck me for security. You don't have to fuck me for a place to live. And you certainly don't have to shag a stranger ever again in your life.
She'll sort of take one step towards you. And what if I want to do that to you?
How about you get to know me first?
I think I'm already starting to.
All right. You've partaken of kindred blood before?
No.
Well, that's how we seal this deal, lass. If I'm going to set you up like this, this is the cost.
I'm ready.
He'll bite his own wrist. Press it to her lips. Probably give her enough that he gets another hunger.
Gonna make me a rest check. That's how I do it in my games.
Oh, I will gain a hunger.
Mm-hmm. So, get hungry as she feeds you, and you're at 3 hunger now. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you hear, "Foolish boy. Foolish boy. We don't have feelings. We don't care. We don't do charity."
It's good for the tax break, mother.
Bad on the stomach, though.
And when that is done, and Aelin has recovered from the bliss of that moment,
She's definitely looking at you with... If she was interested in you before, she's definitely looking at you with extreme interest now.
Edgar will put the keys to the opal in her hand. Says, "Take my nephew to my home. He knows the way. He knows the way to the parking garage and the code to the door."
Yes, sir.
"I'm not going to be home tonight. We'll talk when we go shopping tomorrow. Get you outfits for work. Make sure you're looking proper, eh?"
I'm looking forward to it, Mr. Wade.
All right, then. Have a good evening, Aelin. I will see you tomorrow.
She inclines her head and heads over to the opal. And now it is just Edgar and Tulio outside. Of course, Tulio, you were texting and also privy to that entire conversation, as you had your shadow perspective open, so you could have been texting and listening.
Yep.
So with that, just more information passed. Yeah. I'll rejoin Edgar.
Sorry about that, brother. That was a rather lengthy transaction.
It's not a problem, I understand. Everything go well with your godson, was it?
Godson, brother, nephew, who the fuck knows anymore?
Your kid, then.
He's your kin too. Don't forget that. You're one of us now, lad.
Of course. Tonight has shown me something, Edgar, about you.
Oh, Christ, here we go. What's that?
I think that being a part of this family hasn't quite gotten to you yet.
And what does that mean to you?
It means you're going to be difficult to work with, which isn't a bad thing. Any other Anybody else that was sent with me on this would have just been happy to kill the boy. But not you.
No. There's something that I've latched onto. Funny enough, Olivia didn't even teach me this lesson. Osric did. The true longevity of finance is return on investment. And you don't quit until you've gotten a return on your investment.
It's a good lesson. I would very much like to continue our companionship after tonight, if you're amenable to that.
Could be. In return for a single, honest answer.
Well, then allow me, now that we're negotiating, to tack on my own. I require an honest answer from you as well.
Of course.
Aelin has met Imogen and says she doesn't seem to really belong. Were you lying earlier when you told me you didn't think there was stock in the rumors of her being Giovanni? And as a note to both the storyteller and Edgar, I'm going to be using my lore sheet, A Cousin's Ear.
Please let me know if that is once a story or once a session.
That is once per session.
I love it.
Once per session, you can ask a direct question.
Ask a Giovanni and answer. This will not work on it.
Giovanni family. Whoops. Apologies. I thought it was Hecata.
No.
Question
Edgar
still
is not of La Familia Giovanni.
No, he is not. The question still stands.
However, if you would like to make this a social roll, you can use your other lore sheet to have an automatic success. But that is only going to depend on if Edgar is going to tell the truth or not.
As a note to both Tulio and the storyteller, Edgar is not going to make a roll.
Mm-hmm.
This is an honest bargain. I don't put any stock in it, but our mother does.
Friendships require honesty. Ask your question.
What do you want from all of this?
That's a difficult question, Edgar. I want what any man does, what any of our family does. I want what really anyone could hope to want. I want everything. I want to sit on the throne and bear the crown. And I want to rule this city.
Then let me be very clear. That's what you want, Tulio. All you have to do is ask me. I'll help you get it. I have no compunctions otherwise. I'm sure you heard me talking to the lad. For we, the Dunsarn, it's not about wearing the cap. It's about owning the treasury. If you want to rule Berlin, fucking great. I'm very sure that's what our mother wants of you. If you want to rule, that's perfect. And I will do everything in my power to help you get there. But you got to ask me for it, and remember what I did to get you there.
When I wear that crown, Edgar, no one will talk to you the way that I've seen you talk to tonight.
And we have a gentleman's accord.
I believe kisses were the approved agreement.
Edgar will kiss both of Tulio's cheeks, of course.
Tulio will do the same.
And with that,
Welcome to the family, little brother.
and with that accord struck, the night moves on. Tulio back to his haven, and Edgar to his mother's. And the next time we catch up with what Edgar's doing, we will be 5 years into the future. But for Tulio, we're going to go into the past. And that is where we're going to end this session tonight. Consumerism for this evening. Thank you both.